What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am, and today I've got a subscriber story for y'all that was sent in about something that I haven't talked about in a bit, which is a rich, spoiled kid getting absolutely obliterated, but by himself. I've talked about self-snitching on some of my other channels before, but this guy really snitched on himself and ended up screwing himself over. But regardless, it was right up my alley, so I figured I would make a video on it. Before we get into it, though, be sure to press the like button. Otherwise, no joke, no scam whatsoever, you are going to be in a situation like this guy where you get yourself basically held back. Yeah, definitely not cool. Press the like button. Anyways, the person who sent this in, I guess, went to a private school, and whenever you're at a private school, you tend to have to deal with a lot of kids whose parents have a lot of money, and when parents have a lot of money, for some reason, the kids tend to be a little douchey about it. At this guy's particular private school, I guess most of the kids were very, very cool, but there was one kid named Owen who was awful about the fact that his parents were rich. He would literally walk around like calling people peasants. If kids had beat up shoes, he would ask them why their parents just didn't buy them new ones. He just kind of went out of his way to make everybody like feel beneath him because of the fact that his parents had money, you know? And I've never really understood why people do this, bro. Like, if you're not an adult, if you don't have a job, if your parents have money, you flexing it doesn't actually matter because we all know it's not your money. Like, ooh, watch out, your parents work really hard. Good for you, you know? Anyways, he was constantly flexing on everybody and bragging about stuff, and one of the things that he loved to brag about was the fact that his parents had paid for a tutor to like help him learn stuff, but they were paying him so much that he just ended up like doing all the work for him. That's right, he had gotten a tutor that was literally just doing all of his schoolwork for him, like all of the homework, and he was telling everybody about it. And honestly, that's probably not the best idea for the long term. Like, you still have to take the tests yourself, so not knowing anything that's going on probably isn't worth it. And even then, bro, like, let's say that whatever, it's worth it, you already know all the information, you don't want to do it. If you have yourself a situation where you have a tutor that's doing all your work for you that your parents are paying for, maybe, just maybe, keep your mouth shut and keep that on the down low, because that's a very useful situation you got going for yourself, you know? Like, if something's going great for you, but you know you shouldn't be doing it, maybe don't go around telling the entire school. I know, crazy life advice coming out of me here. It's just probably not a good idea to tell anyone with ears about the stuff that you're doing that's making your life way easier when everybody else is still having to do all of the work that you're bragging about avoiding. It just rubs people the wrong way, you know. And there was one teacher in particular at the school who really, really hated cheating. And the class was like a world history, politics, hybrid class thing, so there was a lot of essays involved. Long, boring essays about like, write 5 pages about what you would have done in this scenario, why is this history thing impactful. And I do personally love history, but I can say writing 5-page essays consistently about topics you don't get to pick and choose is definitely not too fun. And you know, obviously everybody kind of hated doing these essays, but he was always flexing about the fact that his tutor was writing them all for him. And you know, for some reason, because he had been doing it for most of the year, the teacher really wasn't too suspicious. The guy always got like a decent level A on his essays, and so the teacher just thought he was really good at writing. And one day, the teacher is kind of handing back essays, and when she would hand back essays, they had that day to kind of discuss their grade and talk about it and, you know, kind of debate with her about if it should be raised or not. And I guess Owen, on this particular essay that he didn't write, ended up getting a B. And, you know, he didn't write that. You got to keep that in mind. But for some reason, he got so irrationally angry that he decided to confront the teacher over the fact that he got a B. Why he would confront her about that, I don't know. That's literally the stupidest thing you can do. Hey, I didn't write this essay. Can we talk about the fact that you didn't give me an A on it? That is honestly one of the biggest self-snitches I've ever heard of on this channel, bro. Like, literally could not have done more to put yourself in a crappy situation. Because it wasn't even like the teacher was suspicious up to that point, you know? He hadn't really done anything to raise any alarm bells. The writing was consistent, but nope, he had to push it. So the teacher ends up asking him a question about his specific essay, saying, I didn't like the way you did this, this, and this. If you can explain to me why you did it, then, you know, I'll give you an A. And suddenly, this rich kid, Owen, just starts floundering for words, bro. He's on the spot and he realizes that he doesn't know anything about the essay, and this teacher is asking him to explain why he deserves a bigger grade. And he doesn't have an answer, bro, because he didn't write it. And at that point, the teacher can kind of tell that like something fishy is going on, something's up, because, if he really passionately wants his grade to be changed, if he's putting all this work into the essay, he should be able to argue about what he wrote in the essay, but it's almost like he doesn't know what's in it. So the teacher walks over and takes the paper out of his hands and starts like asking more questions about the topic and everything else, and it becomes very obvious that Owen has not a single clue of anything that is going on. Like literally nothing. His brain is basically empty. And the teacher immediately just starts tearing into him. She starts asking who wrote it because it's obvious that he didn't. And now he wants to plead the fifth, bro. The guy who has been walking around telling everyone about this and now is arguing with the teacher. Now he wants to stay silent and he's like, I didn't do anything wrong. And this is where the huge downside comes in of telling literally anyone that will listen about the fact that you're getting out of all the schoolwork. Because while most kids weren't willing to snitch, when you've told literally everyone in school, one or two of the teacher's pets has definitely heard about what's going on. So when the teacher starts asking who wrote his essay, one of the teacher's pets just basically calls out literally everything that they've overheard. Anyways, as I said, the teacher's pet just starts snitching on him and says that he has a tutor who writes everything. She's doing all the work for all of his classes. Literally nothing that he's doing is his own work. Like literally just rats on everything. And he denies it, and at that point the class kind of backs up her story and is like, no, this is true. You're always flexing the fact that you never have to do any work because your tutor does it all. And it's kind of over at that point. The teacher is like, is this true? And he can deny it, but everybody knows because he just couldn't have kept his mouth shut, bro. As I've said, he had a really good situation going for him. All he had to do was, not fight with this teacher and just take the B. Especially if you're getting an A on, every other essay, then who cares? One B's not going to ruin your life. Or if you are going to argue, at the bare minimum, at least, read the essay so you know what you're talking about. To just go in blind and just be like, I need an A is stupid. So the teacher at that point just kind of cancels the rest of what the class was going to be and just kind of continues asking the teacher's pet about the situation and learns basically every detail about it. This is why you probably shouldn't go around bragging about stuff that you shouldn't be doing. It's just, oh my God, bro. And, he finds out that the teachers don't really like when they find out about the fact that they're doing none of their own work. So she sends him down to the dean to have it dealt with because she doesn't really know what to do. And obviously, it's a very big deal. He's screwed because he basically just got caught cheating in every single class that he's in at the exact same time. So in the dean's office, he kind of comes clean about everything, tells them everything going on, and they say that they're going to have to call his parents. And most rich kids in this situation have crappy parents that come in and get mad at the principal for their son being an idiot. Well, they had no idea that the tutor was doing all this work. They just thought that they were paying the tutor and getting results, like the person was just actually really good at teaching their kids school. So they come down and start looking at everything, and all of his homework's not done by him, and the parents are pissed. This is a private school. They're paying for tuition. They're paying for the tutor, and this kid hasn't learned anything and literally has just done none of his work. And, instead of defending him, they did what was actually a good thing in this situation. Yeah, their son was a jerk flexing on everybody about how rich he was and whatnot. But they decide to make him retake all of these classes in summer school. They're like, since you wanted to just not do it the right way the first time, you're going to redo it. Which is honestly a pretty good thing to do that they actually punished him. He wasn't happy about it, but realistically at that point, the dean had basically outlined that he either had to redo it all in summer school or get held back a grade, because they just couldn't let him pass with the fact that he had cheated on literally every homework assignment that year. That's not really something that they can just let slide because you didn't actually learn anything. But he had basically got himself into the situation by just not being able to shut up and not ruin the very good thing he had going for him, so it's not like I really feel that bad for him. And honestly, the punishment was kind of fair because, it's not like he just got cheating on one essay. Obviously, summer school is insane if, you just cheated on one essay or whatever. I used to cheat in school. I'm not going to deny that. But if you've done none of your work and you get caught, if he doesn't get caught, kudos to him. More power to him. But if you get caught, this is what's going to happen. The adult's hands are tied. They have to punish you. And he obviously learned his lesson about bragging too much about stuff that you should probably just not be talking about. And beyond that, if you are in a rich situation, maybe don't be making fun of people for being poor, calling them peasants, making them feel awful about themselves, because then the second they get a chance to bury you and snitch on you to their teacher, they're gonna do it, and you can't blame them because you were just being a jerk to them like 15 minutes before. Definitely regretted that in summer school, for sure. It's just better to keep your mouth shut sometimes. But anyways, guys, I think that's gonna do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, as I've said, I'd really appreciate you taking a second to press the like button and comment down below. It helps the video do better. If you've actually made it this far in the video, go ahead and comment the word James Bond down below just so I know how many people do. I really do appreciate it, and it helps the channel do better. Beyond that, subscribe, turn on notifications so you never miss another video, and I've got some more stuff to plug. If you guys want to listen to these on Spotify, I actually did put a bunch of the old story times up on there, so a link to that will be in the description. Feel free to go check that out. And while you're down in the description, you might as well click the merch link and head on over there. Check that out too. It's pretty fly if you ask me, no bias whatsoever. And last but certainly not least, if you use code SCRUBBY at the G Fuel checkout, it gives you a discount. It helps me out. Everyone's a winner, so be sure to do that. But on that note, guys, that's actually going to do it. Don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot, and hopefully I'll see you guys all next time with another video. I'm out. Peace. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am. I've got a pretty crazy story for you guys about one of the most spoiled rich people I've ever encountered in real life. I have no doubt that you guys are going to enjoy it. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. Be sure to press the like button, otherwise, no joke, no scam, you will be kidnapped in the middle of the night by a team of CIA agents who will then train you to become the next Percy Jackson, but not in a fun way. You won't get water powers, dude. You'll just be stuck in the desert going with a bunch of handlers yelling at you to do it faster, but you're not sure what they want you to do. And yeah, without further ado, let's get into it.
Ain't no hand up, say yep. I know that bitch like me. Yeah, looking fresh, all white Nike.
Alright guys, so this story actually happened at college right before the YouTube thing really took off. At my college, I met some of the weirdest people I ever met, dude, and one of them was this guy named Brian. Now, Brian was the type of guy who had rich parents, and I know that because he was like constantly telling everybody about how loaded his dad was and how basically, like, if he wanted to, he could buy all of us. Like, that's how rich his parents were. And if that sounds annoying, that's because it was, dude. I mean, first of all, someone as sexy as me just isn't for sale, dude, but even for then, he would just be a giant piece of cornbread all the time and be like, dude, my dad's so rich, I'm so cool, I'm so this, and genuinely, I'm gonna be honest with you, if you have loaded parents, literally nobody cares. Like, nobody respects you more for just happening to be born to people that are successful. Like, if your dad is rich, you know, that's totally okay, man, good for you, but you're not your dad, so reminding me constantly just makes you look pretty stupid and like you have nothing else to brag about. Regardless, that's the type of person he was, and I had him in one of my classes, and we had a final project coming up, which was obviously gonna be a large part of our grade. It was like our final exam, but it was not an exam the way a normal one is. The project itself was actually pretty easy. We just had to like write an essay about what we learned and then present it to the class and like answer questions about it from the teacher and our classmates, which I know for some of you sounds terrifying, but like, I don't know, I've always been pretty good at talking, so I wasn't too scared of it. Now, Bryant was also constantly hyping up how he like never had to try to get A's in school, which wasn't true. Like, you know, the dude was pretty smart, but he wasn't as convincing on the whole getting A things as he says he was, you know? Like, whenever we would be answering questions in class, he would always raise his hand all confidently and be like, that's easy, and then get it wrong, but then proceed to tell everybody how he constantly had an A in class, and it was just like, dude, that's weird, because every time you answer a question in class, it's wrong, and he would be like, oh no, it's because I do it on purpose. He was just one of those guys, dude. And regardless, all week before we have to like present this thing, he's procrastinating, which I can't blame him on because I was literally doing the exact same thing. Like, I'm never gonna be the type of person to judge someone for procrastinating, especially if it's schoolwork, because doing that stuff sucks. Like, I don't blame you for wanting to not do work as long as possible. But the really annoying thing about him procrastinating is he was like shaming everybody else who was studying really hard and like calling them morons and whatnot. And listen, dude, if you don't want to do your your work, you want to procrastinate, that's fine. I get it. I do the exact same thing constantly. Like, I always procrastinate. But I don't go around, like, to everyone who's studying hard and, judge them and be like, oh, you're a moron. Because, honestly, we're probably the morons for procrastinating. Like, they've got the right idea. If you don't have to try to pass school, that's cool, dude. But I remember one time during the week where everybody's writing their essays, this one girl was just kind of venting at the little, like, area we were sitting about how stressed she was and how she's super, super nervous for the speech part. And like I said, I've always been good at talking, but I know for a metric butt ton of people, it's literally their biggest fear, dude. Like, it's up there with sharks. And I'm afraid of tons of irrational things. Like, I'm afraid of heights, I'm afraid of the dark, I'm afraid of sharks. Like, I'm a scaredy cat, so I'm never gonna judge anyone for being like, I'm terrified to talk in front of a lot of people, because as someone who is afraid of a bunch of stupid things, I get it. Anyways, he's like, oh, why are you nervous? To which the girl replied by saying that she just kind of had a fear of speaking and she really wanted to get an A on her exam, so she'd been practicing and, like, doing her speech to herself in the mirror. And this guy, dude, like, instead of, just being considerate and saying, oh, wow, that's really good for you, I'm sure you're gonna do great, which really should be your response. Like, if somebody's so nervous that they're practicing doing their exam presentation in the mirror, then you gotta hype them up. Like, if anyone tells you that, I don't care if he's your worst enemy, it's not the time to be like, haha, you're an idiot. No, it's probably the time to be like, you can do it, because that's just the right thing to do. And even then, this guy and this girl had no beef. Like, Bryant had no reason to do what he ended up doing in this situation. He starts clowning her, dude, saying how stupid she has to be and how only dumb people can't talk in class. And clearly the girl is like, her feelings are hurt because this dude is shaming her, calling her a moron for just, like, wanting to get an A and taking class seriously. And everybody who's sitting around him is kind of like, dude, what the hell? Like, what is wrong with you? That was so uncalled for. This girl is just opening up about her fear of speaking in public, and for no reason, he's just like, it's probably because you're a moron. Like, only stupid people don't have the ability to talk in front of classes without getting nervous, which just isn't true. But even then, dude, like, what did your mom have to teach you for you to think that's okay, Like, what type of person sees somebody upset talking about how nervous they are for an exam and is like, now would be the appropriate time to remind them that they are stupid and incapable of doing anything right. Surely that is the right thing to do in this situation, dude. Your dad is this rich man. Apparently he's got all this money, but he couldn't buy you a brain smart enough to figure that out. Like, hey, what's the point of being rich if your kid ends up like this, So at that point, basically everybody around him start pressing him about how he's so sure he's gonna get an A, and if he's not studying, and, like, telling him he's a jerk for making fun of this girl for taking care of her grades, which he was. Like, everybody kind of jumped on him as soon as he was trying to make this girl upset. And when people start confronting him about, like, how he's so confident he's gonna get an A, dude, he just starts ranting about how rich his dad is, which is so obnoxious because it has literally nothing to do with the question people have asked. Like, oh, hey man, and while you're making fun of people that are studying and working hard, how are you so confident that you're gonna get an A? And he's like, yeah, my dad does have a lot of money. Thanks, bro. Not what I asked at all. Don't know how these two things are related. And he basically spends 5 minutes, like, explaining to everybody about how he grew up wealthy, and basically that just makes him better than us at everything, and there's nothing that we can do about it because you learn better when you're a kid. So because he learned better when he was a kid, he just kind of is, like, better than us, Which is such an egotistical take, bro. Like, goddamn, dude. I think money makes life easier, but this dude is really out here pulling some North Korean stuff, like Kim Jong-un telling everybody in North Korea that he doesn't have a butthole because he works so hard he doesn't have to poop. Like, what are you talking about? You're better because you grew up rich? Anyways, the class ends at that point, and I'm like 100% sure now that this dude just sucks and that he's just a mega douche. Like, he did not pass the vibe check with literally anybody. I don't think anyone was a giant fan of him for obvious reasons. So after that, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of forgot about it. I was procrastinating, dude. I had better stuff to do than worry about this guy in my class who was a jerk, and he wasn't really a jerk to me. Like, yeah, sure, I thought about it for a bit on the way home, but after that, I was just kind of doing my thing. It was actually like peak Fortnite at the time, I had dubs to get. I had to be cranking 90s to keep up with all the 12-year-olds on Adderall. This is like mid 2017 when Fortnite was taking off. I had better stuff to do than worry about that. So I'm not gonna lie, I'm procrastinating too. Mega Douche is procrastinating. But finally, the day of reckoning comes. Like, all this time that he spent bragging about how he procrastinates and does no work and never pays an attention but still is gonna kill the exam. Like, well, now it's time for everybody to do their presentation. And we're all sitting in the class, and like, there's that nervous energy that is in the air before everybody has to do presentations, where like nobody wants to go first, nobody wants to do it, like it's not fun. And because I'm really like comfortable talking, I just decide to go first and fast because something that people don't realize is that the teacher is always gonna give the person who goes first a little bit of like a padded grade. You know what I'm saying? Because teachers are like, oh my gosh, this person volunteered to go first and do the awkward thing, so obviously they're gonna be a little nervous, so I'll give them a couple extra points for just being willing to go first. So really, if you are kind of comfortable talking in a group presentation, just go. And then even then, if you've gone and you're done, right, then like the rest of the time people are presenting, you can do whatever you want because you don't have to be paying attention for your name to get called. You're good. You're done. So genuinely, some real advice. Sorry to interrupt the story for a second. I would really recommend if you ever have presentations, just going first. So whatever, I go up. I didn't study. I didn't do anything. So somehow I managed to pull off like a mid B, which I'm gonna take, dude. Some people are like, see, you probably could have studied and got an A, which is true, but instead I played Fortnite and got a B, which, you know, I'm just saying, sometimes it works out. It didn't work out every time. There's a lot of times where I did end up, you know, failing and just screwing myself over because I was procrastinating, but this particular time, it did work out. Anyways, I go to sit down and there's another presentation, and I'm just kind of looking around the class while this person's presenting, and I realize that Mr. Cocky looks really nervous. Like, you know when somebody's color in their face is just gone and they just look like they just saw a ghost? That's what he looks like, dude, and I think he's sitting there realizing he hasn't been paying attention at all, which is gonna make BSing a lot harder. Like, if you're not gonna study and whatnot, you at least have to pay a little bit of attention in class, because at this point, I genuinely don't even know if this dude knows the subject of the class. Like, he was just never paying attention at all, but he also didn't study, so he doesn't know anything, and like, as people are presenting, he's realizing, oh my god, I have no idea what I'm gonna get up there and do. So he gets up, and as I said, he looks like he saw a ghost. He's been chilling in the office or something, and he starts his presentation, and it literally makes no sense. It's like he had listened to all the buzzwords from the other presentations and then was just hoping to string them together in like a way that kind of makes sense, but at the same time also doing the thing you do when you're like trying to hit the word count on an essay, and you're just kind of throwing words together and hoping for the best, making the sentences as long as possible. But the only problem is, like, he's up there saying all these big words, all these buzzwords to sound smart, but he's not confident in what he's saying, so nobody's buying it, dude. Like, confidence is really all you need. If you believe what you're saying, not a lot of people are gonna question it, and if he would have gotten up there and strung together some sentences and thrown in buzzwords at the right points and like been confident, he genuinely probably would have been fine. But like, the fact that he's sitting up there flopping around like a fish sweating buckets, nobody's gonna believe it, because I don't believe it either. So finally, our teacher just stops him because he's embarrassing himself in front of everybody at this point, and it was like an act of mercy. So she just stops him and says that it's obvious that he has no idea what he's talking about, and he better just sit down at this point, dude. But instead of like going and sitting down and just taking the L and keeping his mouth shut, he just decides to start going at it with the teacher, and he's like, well, this class is stupid anyways. That's his rebuttal to like being told to just sit down. And the teacher at this point is having none of it, and she fires back. She's like, well, if this class is so stupid, then why can't you pass it? So he's starting to get flustered now because, you know, he just got roasted in front of everybody, dude. So he goes to his default defense mode, which is just talking about how rich his dad is. So he starts yelling about, I don't need any of this, I'm rich, who do you think you are to talk to me like that? And that's just the corniest thing you could have possibly said, dude. Like, I don't care what your net worth is, that's the worst comeback ever. Oh yeah, I might be stupid, but my dad's rich. Like, I don't care. If you're worth a couple $1 billion, but you're still cringe, it is what it is. Like, you're not gonna uncringify yourself with your dollar bills, dude. You can't change cringe. Anyways, our teacher just says what everyone is thinking, which is like, nobody cares about how rich your dad is, now please sit down. But even after that, dude, his ego just wouldn't let him take the L. So he like does this thing to try to get the last word in and look really cool in front of everybody. So he walks over and he grabs his backpack and he like throws it on his shoulder. He starts walking to the door all sassy like an angry soccer mom on Dance Moms. And he turns around and looks looks at the teacher and he's like, oh, and just so you know, I wipe my butt with $100 bills, okay? And then just like stands there looking at the teacher. And the teacher is just kind of standing there because what do you even say to that? Like, nice bathroom habits, bro? Like, what do you possibly say to somebody saying like, oh, I wipe my butt with $100 bills? Good for you. So she finally just looks at him like after this awkward silence and says, that kind of seems like a waste of money to me, but good for you, I guess. And like that response obviously gets everybody to laugh at that point because it's just such a weird flex to try to look cool. Like, oh, I literally have so much money that I use $100 bills to wipe my butt. That doesn't make you look cool. It just makes you look out of touch and kind of douchey, bro. How is anyone supposed to think you're tough or intimidating with like the visual of you wiping your butt in your head? That's literally the most vulnerable thing ever. Like, as you're leaving trying to look cool, oh, hey guys, imagine me wiping my butt with $100 bills. All those homeless people out there, I could give them $100, but why would I do that when I can use it to get poop off me? Like, it's just not a very good flex, dude. It doesn't make you look good. So everyone's just kind of laughing at him at this point. And he storms out of the room and he slams the door because he's got to just be embarrassed by taking a massive L and looking bad to everyone. Like, he was somebody that really, really cared about his image and he just self-owned himself. Like, it wasn't even like our teacher really had to be super creative and insult him. She just had to reply like a human being and it made him look bad. What's even funnier, dude, is that obviously he had failed his exam. Like, the teacher had to give him an F at that point. That's just what happens when you get into a screaming match with your teacher mid-test. It's probably just not the best idea and it's gonna end up with you getting a bad grade, but he just never came back after that. Like, I think he was just so embarrassed by the way the teacher made him look that he just decided that never coming back was the better option. And honestly, I can't say that I blame him, dude. Like, how are you gonna show your face after trying to make yourself look cool by saying you wipe with hundreds? Your rich dad can't buy your way out of this one, bro. It just made you look like a clown. But anyways, guys, that's gonna do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, please be sure to press the like button. Let me know in the comments section down below what you thought. Subscribe, turn on notifications, it's free. And yeah, other than that, if you guys like content, you want more to watch it, you can always check out my TikTok at Scrubby Stories. I also have a podcast called The Scuffed Cast. I'll put a link in the description. If you've ever had an experience with a douchey kid like this, be sure to let me know down in the comments. I love reading like the little story times you guys drop down there. It's a pretty good part of the day. Other than that, you can also use code Scrubby at the G Fuel checkout for 10% off. It's a pretty fantastic deal. And oh my goodness, look at this merch. Do you guys see this thing? Are you seeing this? Wow, if you put that on a shirt and bought it, it would definitely make you the coolest kid in school. The haha merch link will also be down below, so if you're in the neighborhood for a new sweatshirt or anything, go for it. I tried to make the prices as low as I could, you know? So hopefully it's cheaper than most people's merch. That was kind of my goal. But yeah, on that note, don't get anyone pregnant. Thank you all so much, and hopefully I'll see you guys all next time with another video. I'm out. Peace. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am, and today I've got a story time for y'all I think you're going to enjoy that was sent in to me by a subscriber about a rich kid getting destroyed by his teacher while he was being a jerk. I know y'all love videos like that, so without further ado, let's get into it, but be sure to press the like button, otherwise no joke, no scam, this'll happen to you, and let's go.
Nice rack and her ass Brazilian. Just turned 21, but my bank's a million. Swear.
Alright, so as I said, this was a subscriber story that was sent in about an unbearable rich kid who tried to basically, like, embarrass his teacher, but instead of it working, got, you know, reverse Uno carded mad hard. Anyways, this class in particular was known as being notoriously hard in the school and like was known as being something that, you know, was very difficult. And usually when you have a class like that, the teacher's a jerk. They're kind of proud of the fact that everyone fails their class, but this teacher was not like that. In fact, literally in the first week of this class, she gives you an out. She gets up in front of the class and she says, listen, this is a very difficult class. It's a crazy workload. I know people want to switch out already. If you can't handle it, I will sign the slip right now to get you changed out of here. She didn't want GPAs getting ruined because they tried to take this class, you know, she didn't want them to hate her because their grades got ruined, so she was saying right now, before we get any further into this, let's trade you out of this class. Which honestly is way nicer than most teachers are. As I said, bro, I feel like most teachers that I knew that had really hard classes kind of wore it like a badge of honor. They were really proud of that. You know, like for some reason they would flex. Last year, over half the kids that took this class failed. Do you have any idea how hard this is? And it's like, dude, I don't think that necessarily means what you think it means. that means that you're a horrible teacher, you know? Like, if over half your kids are failing the class, it means you're garbage at teaching them how to do anything. It doesn't mean that you're some genius for knowing how to do it. Regardless, this teacher gives everybody an opportunity to get out of the class. And during the speech she's giving, you know, where like she's explaining that you can switch out, she'll sign the slip, one kid starts to brag that he's not worried about it. He's able to pass any class. Nothing stresses him out. He literally is going to get straight A's. And he was just one of those kids who was like a rich kid that thought that money could buy smarts and talents, you know? Just because your dad has money, it doesn't mean that your IQ skyrockets up 160 points. It's just not how it works, you know? But he's bragging about how he has no problem with classes because his dad, you know, is a CEO, and because of that, he's got CEO genes, so he's smart. And he kind of interrupts her speech that she's giving about letting people switch out to kind of do this bragging. And so she looks directly at him and says, "I would consider switching with your current grade." And everybody obviously laughs at that and kind of is like, "Oh, dude, you just got owned." You know, the rich kid obviously doesn't think it's funny. But the teacher kind of, you know, shut him down pretty quickly. "Shut up, stop trying to brag and act like you're some genius because your dad's rich considering your grade is garbage." Pretty easy way to, like, you know, tell him to shut up. And the rich kid isn't happy and tells the teacher, you know, "Oh, that's not nice. Like, get out of here with that information. You know, you don't have to do that." And the teacher just smiles when he starts to get mad and says, "You know, you're more than welcome to stay. That's just my personal suggestion. A lot of people are going to switch out here. I would consider doing it." And the rich kid at that point digs his heels in to be stubborn and is like, "No, I'm not switching out of this class. You're stuck with me. I'm going to pass this class and you're going to regret it." Has one of those moments. And listen, it was an incredibly hard class, so after that little situation, this dude kind of loses all of his ability to complain about it getting really, really difficult. And after that, for 3 months, everything is just a normal class. It's incredibly hard. Most people are barely hanging on to a decent grade, but around 3 months later, the semester is coming to an end. And one day, everybody walks into class, and the rich kid that had already argued with the teacher a bunch is standing at the front of his class, arms folded, looking very, very upset and angry, and is telling everybody that he's going to have a talk with the teacher, and, you know, he's going to figure this out once and for all because he's tired of being bullied and having his grade brought down by somebody that doesn't know how to teach, and yada, yada, yada. He's talking a very big game to everybody in the classroom as if he's gonna, you know, Hadouken this teacher into, like, the next dimension. And listen, one thing that I found is, like, people tend to say they're gonna say a bunch of crazy stuff before the person walks into the room, but once they're actually looking at the person that they have to insult and go crazy on, things are just a little bit different. But whatever, he's standing there acting all tough, arms crossed, you know, acting like a gangsta. And finally, the teacher walks into class and, you know, she comes in, sits down, starts sipping her coffee, looks up, sees him very, very upset, and, you know, looks back down at the paper and goes back to sipping her coffee. Obviously, he had expected her to be like, "What's wrong?" But, you know, she was going to wait for him to say something first. So he clears his throat and she looks up and she goes, "Oh, is something wrong?" You know, as if she hadn't seen that he was, like, upset and annoyed at her, which, you know, pretty funny to kind of, like, annoy him like that. And this kid starts to go off about how, you know, this class is too hard and he's failing and it's all her fault. She's a horrible teacher, and if she just, you know, could get over herself, maybe she could actually make a difference to these kids, but she's a garbage teacher and it's all her fault that he's failing. And she lets him get it all out, you know, just lets him rant for a couple of minutes about how garbage she is of a teacher, just insulting her, saying she's dumb, all that stuff. And finally, when he, like, finishes his little rant, she looks at him and very calmly says, "You know, it's not my fault. I told you to switch out of this class. You didn't, so this is your fault now." And she just looks back down and goes back to sipping her coffee. And obviously, this kid had just poured his heart out, you know, so he gets all offended. And I think the teacher's in the right. I want to make that clear. I think it's hilarious that this dude gets mad and starts to argue more. But, you know, he tries to slam dunk on her, and he's like, "You have no room to talk down to me when my dad makes your salary a month." And obviously, that really has nothing to do with this situation. It doesn't really matter how much money your dad makes. If you're still failing the class, it doesn't change anything, dude. Like, it's not gonna magically make you get a good grade. And even then, it's just really unnecessary because, like, what does money have to do with anything? It doesn't matter if your dad makes a bunch of money or not. This is still your teacher. They're still in charge of the class. And, like, who cares how much money somebody's making? And even the class at that point kind of has the teacher's back. They're like, that's not cool. Come on. Like, what are you doing, bro? You don't need to say that. Like, what's wrong with you? And so the class is already on the teacher's side, but the teacher is like, no, it's okay. It's okay, guys. Calm down. And she looks right at the rich kid, like staring daggers into him. You know, only the way like an angry teacher can. Just that stare that makes you aware of the fact that you're like about to get destroyed. And she goes, your dad might be rich, but sadly, he has nothing to do with your grade. And she gets up and says, oops, and like drops this stack of papers in front of the projector, right? Anyways, when she drops these papers, it like cuts the thing off that's like on the top of the projector. You know the little cover they have on that makes it blurry. And when it blops off, it just happens to be zoomed in on 3 people's grades. And it's 2 people with a 96%, and then it's the rich kid with a 12%. So she kind of, you know, points out that you've got to be basically trying to fail to be doing as bad as this kid. Like, a 12% is impressive. It's also insane to come in talking trash about like, oh, my dad's rich and you're stupid and that's the reason I'm failing. With a 12%, like, you're just that bad. Not to mention, I don't really know what money has to do with any of this, bro. Like, okay, hypothetically, let's pretend that your dad is a billionaire. Here, whatever. I'll pretend that your dad is Elon Musk. Isn't it more embarrassing that your dad is worth like $284 billion and you're still sitting here with a 12% in like a normal class? If anything, you should be building rockets by now, bro. Like, the richer your parents are, that gives you less of an excuse to not be the smartest person in the classroom. I'm just saying, if you're gonna flex the fact that your dad makes a teacher's salary a month, it might as well be like, and he bought me books, so now I know stuff. It shouldn't just be, you don't know what's going on ever. And obviously, that was a pretty easy own, and she did it with complete plausible deniability. Because I'm sure, like, shaming kids for having a low grade outright is against the rules. I'm pretty sure they'd have to punish a teacher for that. But by doing it by accidentally dropping some papers and, like, de-blurring the projector, you avoid all of that. And because it was 3 students' grades, you could be like, well, man, it was just completely random. I don't know how those got up there. Obviously, just an absolute G to think ahead and know that this keeps you out of trouble. And even then, bro, like, I just don't know why you had to bring up money. I don't know why how much money your teacher makes matters. Like, okay, hypothetically, your dad's rich. He can't buy your grades. Like, even if he's making all this money, he can't poof his salary and make you smarter. You're still dumb. If anything, it goes to show that, like, your dad is rich, but you won't be, dude. Like, you've got to prepare for some different type of life if you're just pulling off a 12% and trying to fight the teacher for it. Anyways, he really does not like that. He doesn't like everybody laughing at him. He doesn't like everybody kind of knowing that he's not doing too hot. So he starts saying that she's trying to shame him for being stupid. And, you know, he starts being like, you can't shame people for being stupid. It's not my fault that I don't understand this class. Like, the fact that you're trying to shame me for being stupid shows that you're a bad teacher. And the teacher was almost ready for this one, dude. Like, every time he would try to, you know, duck a punch and throw a hook, she was ready with the block. She says, honestly, I'm not doing anything to shame you. If you're ashamed of your grade and the way you act in this class, then I can't blame you for feeling that way, but that's not my intention. Just absolutely destroying him, bro. Like, hey, man, if you're embarrassed by your actions right now, that's because it's embarrassing. It's got nothing to do with everybody else here. And his face is just turning beet red. Obviously, at this point, all of the support of the class has gotten behind the teacher. And here's why that's impressive, dude. It's hard enough to get a classroom on your side, but it's incredibly hard to get the classroom on your side as a teacher, dude. I feel like every kid in a classroom, low-key in the back of their mind, hopes that somebody goes off and, like, you know, owns the teacher, makes them look dumb. You have to basically be destroying somebody as a teacher for the entire class to be like, dude, you're getting bodied right now, you know what I mean? Anyways, when she points out that she can't blame him for feeling ashamed, everybody starts freaking out even more. And at that point, he's turning red, he's mad, and you basically have 2 options here if you're the rich kid, right? There's really 2 ways where this is gonna go down. You're either going to accept the fact that you just got destroyed and you're going to fail this class, you're going to go back to your seat and deal with it, everyone's going to make fun of you, or you're going to scream and flee the classroom like a wild Pokemon, getting away from a trainer that you've heard like is mean when they're training Pokemon how to battle. You're just going to want nothing to do with it, and instead of picking the option that's probably, I guess better, which is staying there, he decides to make a break for it. And I say I guess better because I'll be honest, dude, if you've already embarrassed yourself this hard, it's not like embarrassing yourself a little bit more and running out of the classroom is really that bad at the end of the day. Anyways, he just starts kind of howling, like, and running out of the classroom saying something about how he's gonna get revenge, dude. He's like making motorcycle noises as he runs away. Maybe he thought it made him run faster in his head. Like literally on his way out of the classroom, I'm gonna get revenge. Like, you know, like a little kid playing with some Hot Wheels. Everyone had that one car mat in their room where it was like the layout of the city on the like carpet. Everyone knows what I'm talking about, dude. He was making noises like he was playing with one of those, just like, I'm gonna get you back, you know, Neville from iCarly, I'm gonna rue the day. Homie was really out here trying to do his best to convince everyone that they should be afraid. And he leaves. The teacher kind of reports that he left. They say, okay, we'll handle it. And, you know, the class goes on as normal. She literally just goes back to teaching the class. She doesn't act like anything happened. Absolute G. Anyways, that was about a week ago, and ever since then, he's been in class, probably still failing, and he just walks in, puts his hood up so nobody could look at him, stares down, and just sits there till the bell rings and then leaves as fast as possible. And as for his incredible revenge, you know, as he promised, he was like, I'm gonna get my revenge! The teacher hasn't gotten in trouble, you know, hasn't been fired yet, so I don't really know what the revenge is, what he's got planned, but chances are it's not gonna work out too great. Honestly, like, I don't even know what he could do. Hypothetically here, if he wanted to go through with the revenge, like, what is he gonna say? I tried to bully this teacher for not making a lot of money, so then she absolutely embarrassed me in front of everybody and they thought it was funny. So the teacher should be in trouble? Like, you still started it, bro. Even if in that situation, you know, the teacher shouldn't have shamed you. You still swung first. I mean, I guess it's wrong for the teacher to swing back, period. But you can't just run around shaming people, making them feel bad because your dad makes a lot of money and expect them to never make fun of you or, like, have anything to say about it, man. There's really no revenge you could get. I tried to make fun of the teacher and they reverse uno'd me twice as hard and I lost and now everyone makes fun of me. Like, I think that's still kind of on you at the end of the day. Moral of the story, though, I guess your parents' money doesn't matter. If they have a bunch of money and you're still dumb, it is what it is. Also, maybe like if a teacher warns you that the class is going to be crazy hard and you can escape, that's your chance to escape, dude. I'm just saying, they gave you a chance. But yeah, on that note, guys, I think that's going to do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, I would really appreciate you taking a second to press the like button and let me know in the comment section down below what you thought. It helps the video do a lot better, so if you could comment the word rich down below, I'd appreciate it. Other than that, if you like the intro song, a link to it can be found down in the description, along with a link to my podcast, The Scuffed Cast, or of course, you could use code SCRUBBY at the G Fuel checkout. Great way to get a discount on G Fuel and help me out so everybody's a winner. And last but certainly not least, as y'all know, it is October, so you can still get your hands on the Halloween merch. It's on your screen now. It's pretty cool if I do get to say so myself, but I'm a little bit biased, and you can get that from the top link in the description. But yeah, on that note, guys, that's gonna do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. As I said, like, comment, subscribe. It really does help the video do better. And don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot. Hopefully I'll see each and every single one of you guys next time with another video. And I'm out. Peace. Bye. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am, and today I've got a subscriber story that was sent in to me about this rich kid on their bus that ended up breaking his phone to try to flex on everybody, but it ended up backfiring. Regardless, I figured it'd be the perfect story for this channel, so that's what we're going to be doing today. But before we get into it, be sure to press the like button. Otherwise, no joke, no scam whatsoever. Someone's going to break your phone next time you're on a bus. And trust me, you don't want that to happen. And without further ado, let's go. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, as I've said before in story time, school buses are a pretty weird world, dude. It's like the only time when you're really young that you're unsupervised, and so it's this own little world of like kids trying to, you know, act tough at the bus stop and bully each other. You've got people just doing things on the bus they would never do anywhere else. Climbing under the seats, sliding up and down the aisles, dude, like trying their best to slam into the sides of the bus to make it flip. Just, it's absolute chaos on a bus. And one of the worst things that can happen on a school bus is somebody that just kills the vibe, dude. It's already bad enough that we've got to be going to and from school, alright? But the last thing you need to do is make it suck for everybody else. But I guess this subscriber had a kid on their bus in elementary school that loved to just flex on everybody, make themselves feel more important, just be like, hello, I am rich, and because of that, I am better than you. And on this particular day, this rich kid was on the bus bragging very, very loudly about how, it doesn't really matter what he wants, his parents will get it for him because his parents are rich and blah, 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 blah. And he's bragging about how, most people at their school aren't able to get a new phone every year, but his parents buy him a phone every year because they're just that rich and yada, 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 just kind of going on about how much better he is than everybody. And obviously some kids on the bus ended up telling him to shut up because nobody cares, right? Which is a pretty fair thing to say. If you're just kind of loudly for no reason saying out loud my dad is rich, he buys me things, someone's gonna tell you to shut up because chances are people don't care. But when this kid gets told to shut up, instead of, shutting up or realizing that he looks out of touch, he decides to start bragging even more. And he goes, oh, why? Are you jealous that my dad's rich and your parents are poor? It's not my fault that my parents work harder than your parents, okay? It just is what it is, and everybody is kind of annoyed with him. And then he reaches into his phone and he pulls out the new iPhone. And I don't necessarily know when this took place, but whatever, you get the idea. There's always that 1 month period right after the new iPhone comes out where everybody who gets it feels a little fancy. And so he pulls it out and he's like, look at this. Most of you guys don't even have a phone, but my parents bought me an iPhone because they love me and they're rich and blah, 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 blah. And my parents are better than your parents, yada, yada, yada. Still just kind of rubbing it in that he's rich and better than And then somebody on the bus, one of the people that's arguing back and forth with this kid who's just trying to make everybody feel bad, says something that's a pretty genius move to play, I can't even lie. He says, okay, so you say your parents will buy you anything, right? It doesn't matter what you ask for, they'll buy it for you. And he's like, yeah, because my parents are rich. And he goes, all right, so they just bought you that iPhone? And the kid once again pulls his iPhone out and starts bragging and is like, yeah, it's the new one, da-da-da-da-da. It cost $800. And that's when the kid goes, all right, well, if you're really telling the truth about how rich you are and how your parents will buy you anything, then break the phone. Just break it. And if you break it and your parents are super rich, they'll just buy you a new one, right? That'll make us all shut up. Because right now, it just seems like you're bragging and trying to make us feel bad. But, if you really got it like that, then break your phone. If you really don't care and they'll get you anything. And as soon as he says that, the kid's face changes into something that's not very hyped, bro. Kind of uh-oh, I might have made a mistake here by getting myself into this situation. And everybody else that's on the bus and is kind of arguing with him now because he turned this into a group project. Homie really could have had the 1v1, had to get the bus involved, dude. It's kind of yeah, no, break it. If you're really so rich and your parents will buy you anything, then it just shouldn't be a big deal to get you another iPhone, right? Right? And everybody kind of starts to do that thing from Nemo, and they're like, mine, mine, mine. But it's just that kind of telling him, no, break your phone. Seriously. Come on. If your parents are so rich and they won't care and they'll buy you anything, do it. And the entire bus is kind of getting involved. And the rich kid is kind of obviously not saying a whole bunch. He's turning red probably from the embarrassment. But, he doesn't want to look like he's not rich. He's been telling everybody how much they suck because they don't have iPhones. And so instead of just deciding to say something along the lines of, I'm not going to break it, that's ridiculous, whatever, you guys can believe what you want, I have an iPhone, yada, yada, yada. This kid, wanting to look as cool as humanly possible, make everybody feel bad about the fact that they didn't have a phone cooler than him, goes, fine, I will destroy it, and my parents will buy me a new one, I don't even care. And so he turns into the aisle and puts his phone on the ground, takes the curb of his foot or the heel of his foot and just starts to curb stomp his phone over and over again. And he does it with the glass side up, and 3 kicks in, there's finally just a big crack across the screen. And as soon as there's a crack across the screen, dude, you would have thought that everybody on the bus just witnessed a horrible accident. They're like, oh my god, he broke it. No, he broke his phone. Dude, the screen's broken. The screen's broken. You had other people with their phones, the other people that did have phones, filming this kid breaking his phone. Because for some reason, when you're young, breaking electronics entertains you. I don't know if this was just me, but I used to look up smashing Xbox 360 just because I thought it was entertaining. So obviously everybody's just staring at this rich kid who's just stomping his phone. And as he's stomping it, his face starts to contort into regret, mid-stomping it. Once it breaks, it's crap. You can see that he starts to kind of have to hold back the tears. He's not too happy with what he did. Probably because the reality's kicking in that, like, his parents probably are not gonna buy him a new phone, dude. I don't know if it's just me, but I don't care how rich I am. If I'm literally a billionaire, if I got my kid a brand new phone and he went to school the next day and broke it to try to impress people and say how rich he was, yo, that sucks, dude, but I'm not getting you a new phone. So anyways, he stomps on it for a bit, picks it up, and he's telling everybody he doesn't care. The look on his face obviously means he cares, dude. Homie looks like he's about to cry the entire time, but he swears, I don't even care. He puts his broken phone in his pocket and says, watch, tomorrow I'm gonna have a new one. Like, I'm gonna have a new one tomorrow. You guys don't even worry about it. My parents are rich. They'll buy me whatever I want. And honestly, most people on the bus are making fun of him for being an idiot destroying his phone, but they're also like, wait, maybe he's telling the truth, dude. Like, maybe this dude's really about to get a new iPhone because he just did it with so much confidence. Like, you would think if you were not 100% sure in that scenario, you're not going to destroy your phone, right? Maybe that's just me, but if I'm not 1000% positive that I have a phone in the mail tomorrow, I'm not curb stomping and destroying my phone. And if you want me to be honest, even if I had one in the mail, why would I curb stomp and destroy a perfectly good phone? It just doesn't make sense. But the fact that this guy just did it so willy-nilly has some kids thinking that he's telling the truth, right? So whatever, they go about the day, and pretty quickly at school, everybody starts to hear about this. You know, everybody's starting to talk about the guy that broke his new phone on the bus, the guy that shattered his phone on the bus, yada, yada, yada. Anyways, at school, he's even telling the story, but he's embellishing it. Like, you know, obviously he stomped on his iPhone. It is what it is. It's cool, I guess. But he's telling everybody that, like, they told me that I didn't have the money. So I whipped out my phone, did a 720 no-scope, was spinning it like a Beyblade, and then kicked it out the window. He's just making it sound way cooler than it is. And a lot of people are making fun of him, and he's showing everyone the phone, and it just kind of becomes like a big deal at school. There wasn't a lot going on, so, you know, smashing an iPhone was the biggest deal at the time. And so, obviously, everybody is starting to, like, take bets, not literally, but bets about, you know, oh, do you think he's going to get a new one? Do you think they're going to buy him a new phone? Do you think they're going to buy him a new phone? And a lot of the school is like, yeah, I think so. If he smashed it, probably. But it's pretty divided. You got two camps. One that thinks it's going to be hilarious tomorrow when he comes to school with no iPhone, and the camp that's like, nah, he's going to get it. So the next day, obviously at night, no one really knows what's going on. They don't all live together. But the next day, obviously at the bus stop, people are hyped. They are very, very excited. And they're waiting, and the kid who broke his iPhone just never comes. They go to school. Sure enough, he's not there that day either. And they're like, okay, well, he's not here. Does that mean he got in a bunch of trouble? Does that mean that, you know, his parents took him on vacation? Like, what does this mean? And so everybody's kind of theorizing that entire day when he's not there about what it is, dude. People are saying, like, maybe he got kidnapped by aliens. You know, maybe Steve Jobs himself flew down from heaven and gave him an iPhone. Just like people are theorizing literally everything. But sure enough, the next day comes, everybody's standing there hyped at the bus stop, and up walks the kid who smashed his iPhone. And people are trying to talk to him, and he's like acting like he can't hear them. Yo, dude, did you get a new phone? Did you get a new phone? Did you get a new phone? And he's just kind of looking straight down, not replying to anyone. He's not trying to engage with anyone. He's just trying to avoid it. And everybody's kind of like, yo, did you get a new phone? Did you get a new phone? And he's like, we'll talk on the bus. We'll talk on the bus. We'll talk on the bus, right? So they get on the bus and everybody crowds around his seat a little bit, obviously. And they're like, okay, well, what happened? And he goes, okay, so I go home and I tell my mom that I broke my phone, and she asks how. So I tell her that a bunch of kids on the bus were saying that, you know, you guys wouldn't buy me a new iPhone if I broke it. So I decided to break it. And my mom said, well, you're dumb because we're not going to buy you a new phone. And then I started crying and freaking out because they should have bought me a new phone because I deserve it. And everybody on the bus kind of is like, yeah, you know, they don't agree at all. Obviously, if you smash your phone, you don't just deserve another one. And so me and my mom started arguing about it, and she called my dad and told him, and my dad was pissed, and he came home, and we got in a big argument. And yesterday I faked sick because I was so embarrassed about what happened about not getting a new phone. And half the people on the bus start cheering. They're like, he didn't get a phone. He didn't get a phone. And he starts to get beet red, embarrassed. You know, tears start to well up again. And he's like, yeah, but please don't tell anyone at school. Like, you know, let's just not make this a big deal. And they're like, okay, well, will you show us your phone? And this dude pulls out a pink Razor flip phone from like way back in the day that belonged to his mom. And so obviously everybody starts roasting him immediately. It's bedazzled, dude. Just in terms of when you told everyone your parents were rich and gonna buy you a new iPhone and then you show up with a bedazzled Razor, you're gonna get made fun of. You can't expect anything else. And so, obviously, everybody's making this a big deal. He thought everyone was going to let it slide, but they get to school and everyone's running around. Oh my God, he's got a pink Razor. His phone sucks. Oh my God, they didn't get him an iPhone. Ha ha ha. Everybody's making fun of him, dude, and obviously he's known as the guy that smashed his iPhone. And it got so popular at the school that even the teachers, like, stopped and were like, hey, did you get a new phone? Meanwhile, this dude's just crying while, calling people with his bedazzled pink Razor. And I'm not even saying it's completely lame, Razors are cool. But it's definitely not my parents are rich and will buy me a new iPhone whenever I want situation, dude. I don't even know why you would smash your iPhone if you knew they weren't going to get you one. Like, obviously, your parents were not going to get you a new iPhone if you smashed it. You knew that on the bus, but you still went through with it and curb stomped it anyways. No one made you do that, dude. It's not like they had a PlayStation controller that controlled your right leg and, like, made you continuously curb stomp the iPhone until it stopped working. I can't even imagine what the parents must have said in that moment. Like, obviously, there was more than just his little explanation, but imagine you're a parent. You have a job. You're working 40 hours a week, maybe even some overtime, dude. You save up money. You buy your kid an iPhone. You're like, wow, hopefully they appreciate this and treasure it. Next day, they come home. They're like, yeah, some kids said that we were poor, so I'm going to need you to buy me another $1,000 phone because I destroyed this one to teach them a lesson. Thanks, Pops. Work some overtime if you have to. I don't really care. I just need a new phone. Like, I literally could not imagine the blood boiling at that point, dude. Just being like, you did what? You did what? You did what? But I will also say, probably a really bad idea to, like, give an elementary schooler a new iPhone. Like, I can't say the parents were the sharpest tools in the shed. It looks like everyone in that family has the same, thought process in terms of not at all. There's just none. Moral of the story, though, don't break your new iPhone to try to convince people that you're rich, because chances are it's going to backfire and you're just going to end up being made fun of and your parents are not going to buy you a new phone. That's my honest advice here. But anyways, guys, I think that's going to do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, I'd really appreciate you taking a second to press the like button. Let me know in the comments section down below what you thought. And, of course, subscribe if you're new and turn on notifications. If you really want to help me out, you can check out the intro song. A link to it can be found down below, along with a link to my podcast, The Scuffed Cast. And other than that, if you use code SCRUBBY at the G Fuel checkout, you get a discount on the best energy drink for gamers, and it helps me out too. And last but certainly not least, as y'all know, it's October, which means Halloween is quickly approaching, and you can get yourself some of the Halloween merch from the top link in the description. As you can see on screen, it's pretty fantastic. And, yeah, on that note, guys, don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot, and hopefully I'll see each and every one of you guys next time with another video. I'm out. Peace. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am. And today I've got a story time about some things that y'all tend to love, video games and people looking stupid. I figured I'd combine the two for today's video. But before we get into it, be sure to press the like button, otherwise no joke, no scam, you're going to be cursed with the worst curse of all time. The ugly curse. Yeah, that's right, you don't want to be ugly, so press the like button and let's get into it.
Nice rack and her ass Brazilian. Just turned 21, but my bank's a million. Swear I'm a...
Alright guys, so as I said, this story was sent in to me, and it was sent in to me about their cousin who's a little bit out there. I think it's safe to say at this point that gaming has become super mainstream. Like, basically everyone and their mom has played a video game at some point, or at least knows somebody that's really into video games. But I guess this guy's cousin was like a super jock, one of those guys who would work out his forehead muscles if he could. Like, his dream body is basically just looking like a Neanderthal. Nothing wrong with liking working out or anything. Obviously, I'm making jokes, but sometimes people take it way too far, and it's like their only personality trait is the fact that they're jacked and, lift heavy. Hey, good for you, bro. I'm very, very proud of you. Congratulations. But, you should be more varied than just having one hobby be your personality trait ever. It's basically the equivalent of, like, a guy who's just way too into his car, it's the only thing he talks about. Anyways, though, as I said, these two guys hadn't seen each other in a little bit, and when you haven't seen your cousin in a while, you tend to, want to catch up, figure out what's going on in their life, what's changed, what's new. At least I hope that's what you guys do when you haven't seen your cousin in a while, you know? I hope you just don't immediately bully them like what happens here, but that's the way it is sometimes. But as soon as they start catching up, his cousin's rude off the bat. He starts like pointing out how skinny and ugly this dude is, and he's like, oh, you probably have no self-confidence because, you know, I certainly wouldn't be very confident if I was as ugly as you. Which is quite the introduction when you haven't seen someone in quite some time, dude. Like, hey, you know, I guess I'm not really the guy to be telling anybody about how to talk to people. But I'm just saying, opening up with, you're really, really skinny and ugly. Oh my god, I would be so afraid to be confident if I looked like you is not a good way to say, haven't seen you in a while, how you been? Like, hey dude, it's been years, you want to point out my acne while you're at it? What's up with relatives just going in on you after you haven't seen them for a long time, you know? I feel like if I was in this guy's shoes, the only thing that would be running through my head is like, oh yeah, this is why we don't talk, because you just bully me the entire time. Anyways, the subscriber not wanting to like be a baby about it or cause a problem just kind of laughs at it, smiles, you know, and just kind of like nods a bit, not wanting to cause an issue. They're at like a family dinner thing. He just doesn't really want to be the drama of the evening, so he just kind of lets it slide off of him because he is pretty confident. He's don't got the confident issues. And so they continue to talk, and I'm going to name the cousin Gus from now on. And after he just insults him, calls him skinny and ugly, Gus just starts bragging about how great he is, you know, how he can bench this number, he's been working out every single day. And he starts bragging about how, like, he literally has to beat the women away from him because they're all chasing him and want him so bad, which, like, always cracks me up when someone starts saying that out of nowhere, dude. Like, you know, if you really had women chasing after you to the point where you have to be beating them away because, like, they're after you so much, I don't think you would really need to flex that to your cousin. Oh, yeah, man, you know, you're just the dopest. You're so confident and awesome that you've got to convince your little cousin that you're a lady slayer. Dude, it's got to be hard to sleep at night when you're that dope, honestly. Like, this guy's so dope, he's an official enemy of the war on drugs. That's how cool this guy is. And after about 5 minutes of just talking about how ripped and awesome he is, he finally asks about his cousins again, and he's like, oh, well, what have you guys been up to? And the person who sent this to me explains that, you know, he's been playing a lot of video games. One game in particular he's really into, he's been playing competitively. He's like on a team for it. And they had a tournament coming up in a few weeks for $25,000, and they thought they had a chance of winning. And like before he can even finish explaining that, his cousin Gus cuts him off and says, yo, bro, I don't really care what game it is. I'm just saying you gotta be careful because, you know, if anyone finds out that you're a gamer, no one's gonna want to be your friend or date you, dude. And obviously the subscriber's really confused, like he was just answering a question about himself, explaining what he's been up to. He wasn't really asking for advice, so he says, well, you know, if someone doesn't want to be my friend because I play video games, then they're not my friend, and if a girl hates me for gaming, then she's not the girl for me. And even then, it's not like this guy just said he's playing video games for 30 hours a day. Like, he's saying that he plays a game that he's good enough at to potentially win money. I don't think it's a giant waste of time at that point. I don't think you should be doing anything to impress just the other gender of people, dude. Like, if you're a girl who's dope at Dota and, you know, is really cracked at it, who cares if guys like it? It doesn't matter. Just do what you want to do, man. If it makes you happy to be gaming, that's what you should do. Anyways, he kind of says, he's like, all right, well, I just really enjoy playing the game, and I like the idea of being able to win some money and support myself with what I could win from it. That's a cool idea. Keep in mind, the subscriber is, like, not even an adult yet. It's not like, you know, he needs to be supporting his wife and 8 kids right now. Like, if he wins this money, it's just fun money. And the cousin kind of scuffs at that, goof. Sorry for having a seizure there. Gus kind of scoffs at that idea, and, you know, the idea that this could just be fun money, and he's not even talking about committing his life to it, dude. And he's like, yeah, well, you know, sure you could make some money, but you know what they say, bro. Anyone that plays video games is ugly. He says, yeah, man, like, confirmed ugly, dude. Anyone who's spending their time playing video games is confirmed to be an uggo monster. It's the rules, bro. And I mean, like, alright, I'm not really sure what the rule book is. Maybe I haven't read it in a while, but is that the rules these days? I mean, fair enough, some people that are gamers are tough to look at, but I would venture out and say, like, a proportion of anyone in any hobby is hard to look at. If you just took the 5% of the ugliest people from any hobby, you know, I'm sure it's not fantastic, alright? But you know, it's kind of weird to say that every gamer is ugly as a confirmed rule, considering everyone and their mom plays video games at this point. Like, you're gonna tell me that every gamer is ugly? That's just untrue. I don't feel like a majority of gamers are even ugly. I'll give you 15%, because I feel like 15% of the population just has to be ugly. Nothing against them. There's absolutely nothing wrong with being ugly. Just 15% of people naturally are ugly. But I don't necessarily think that it's some overwhelming majority out here. Like, oh man, if you got every gamer in the world together, then it would just be, oh, wow. I don't think that's necessarily true. I also don't think it necessarily matters what people look like that much. But yeah, like, I'm sure you could find some ugly gamers. Not to mention, I feel like if anything, being an esports player is kind of cool now. Maybe I'm just a nerd, but like, hey, I would be kind of impressed if somebody told me they were making money because they're so good at a game. Maybe 10 years ago, people would think it's cringe and stupid to be trying to be a professional esports player, but you know, if you're a pro at video games at this point and making money, I think people are impressed, especially because you can make a lot of money. It's not like it's some dead-end job where you're just going to be making $2,000 a year winning tournaments like in 2003. You can become like a multi-millionaire, almost like a professional athlete now if you're really cracked at particular games. Anyways, obviously the subscriber really doesn't know how to respond to that. Like, I don't really know how you respond to a statement where somebody says that you're really ugly. Like, they just call you ugly. And so he decides the best thing to do is to try to kill him with kindness and like not cause any problems. Nicer than the way I would have handled it. I feel like at that point you're entitled to insult him as much as you want. But he kind of says, well, you know, if I'm gonna be ugly either way, I might as well game and get paid, right? Like, if I'm just unfortunate looking, then it is what it is. I might as well get paid for it. Which obviously he doesn't think he's ugly, but once again, he knows that his cousin's kind of trying to bait him and like cause an argument. So if he caves in and starts fighting with him, then he's gonna look bad. His cousin's gonna, you know, get what he wants. So he's just trying to just avoid the fight. And the cousin starts to be like, yeah, well, you know what they say, the only way to be happy is to grind the gym, you know, that's the only way to make sure that you're actually happy. And listen, I'm not going to say that taking care of yourself isn't important. You know, you should work out. But I think it's stupid to say that the only way to be happy is grinding in the gym, dude. Like, oh yeah, you know, some people are happy for different things. This guy's cousin pipes up. He's like, actually, that's impossible. The only way for anyone to be happy is being in the gym lifting weights, okay? If anyone says they're happy doing anything else, they're a liar. Meanwhile, some dude is like climbing a mountain and he's like, oh, this is fun. Some like ladies hiking, you know, some dudes playing video games. Like, they're all having a good time. They're objectively happy. No, doesn't count. People literally can't be happy unless they're getting ripped in the gym. It's the only way to be happy. And if anyone says anything otherwise, then they're liars. It's the truth. Like, all right, Gus, you know, you're the magic man over here, dude. Imagine this guy's majestic outlook, you know, everyone just needs to work out in the gym. That's the only way to be happy. Like, there's some kid in the gym who's lifting light weights. He goes over there, starts shaming him, like throws a heavy weight at him. Come to find out the kid has brittle bone disease. He like shattered his femur, dude. Like, not everyone is happy for the same reasons as you, but whatever. You know, he's just kind of listening to Gus go off. And finally, after his rant, he goes, but that's just my advice for you. But until you decide to give up this stupid little dream of playing video games and not becoming ugly, I don't really want to catch loser off you. Peace. Throws up the peace sign like he's the meme of the dude fading out of there and walks away backwards from him. But on the way back, he like bumps into a wall, dude. Just the least smooth guy of all time. And even then, that's just a bad insult, man. Like, if you're gonna insult your cousin, it might as well be funny or clever, but being like, aha, I don't want to catch loser off you. Like, whoa, man, we got a poet over here. This guy's creativity is on 400. Somebody get over here and slow this man down. Do we have an officer with a speed gun over here? Because this guy is speeding to things that are mad out of pocket. He called somebody a Weenie Hut Jr. man. Like, you would think this dude was not an adult. Keep in mind, Gus is an adult who's like saying all this, calling his cousin a loser, which is itself pretty dumb. You know, I used to tease my cousins and argue with them all the time, but like, we just kind of stopped at a certain point. It would be kind of weird if I was at Thanksgiving and my 30-year-old cousin just started trying to, like, you know, argue like we were 8 again. Anyways, he walks away like all angrily after calling him a loser, and a couple of his other cousins walk up to him and start talking to him about like, what was that about? You know, we saw him like trying to lecture you. What did he say? Just trying to figure it out. Cause listen, when you're at a family dinner or something, sometimes the most entertaining thing going on is the family drama. I think that's a very, very well-known secret. Like, if there's not a football game on, nothing's going on, and you see two cousins arguing, yeah, you might insert yourself in the middle of that a little bit, because what else are you going to do while dinner's cooking? And so he kind of says that he was bullying him for, like, liking video games, and everybody who plays video games are ugly, and he's not doing it to tattle on him. They're more just laughing at it. Like, it's not like the subscriber is insecure about it. He's not going to go cry himself to sleep at night because his cousin says he's ugly. But when he kind of explains that, you know, he said he's a loser and only losers play video games, all of his other cousins start laughing, and he's like, oh, what's so funny? What's so funny? And they're like, dude, it's just hilarious that he would be calling anybody a loser. Keep in mind he's an adult, so, you know, the job thing is kind of important. I know things are rough right now, but if you're gonna go around calling people a loser, it might be important to, like, not just be living in your mom's basement. Which is exactly where this Gus dude was living. He didn't have a job. The only thing he did is work out in his mom's basement. Like, that's literally all he did. And listen, I'm not going to sit here and say that that's like the worst thing ever, whatever. I guess at least you're working out right. But you should not be going around insulting anybody, calling anyone a loser if you are also a loser. Yeah, man, you're just kind of lame for trying to make money playing video games. Anyways, I'm going to go back to eating hot Cheetos in my mom's basement and then hitting the Bowflex until I cry myself to sleep at night. Deuces. Like, dude, how are you going to be telling anybody how to live their life if your life has resorted to you living in your mom's basement? I know times have changed, but I still think we all know that's not necessarily winning. Times are hard, but you got to be humble when the times are hard, man. Just going around insulting people, you know, what is the saying? People who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. That's this equivalent. So obviously all of the cousins are laughing at him, and Gus sees them kind of laughing at him, and he like yells over across the room. He's like, what are you guys laughing at? And, you know, instead of trying to save face for him at that point, they've just committed to making fun of him. And they were like, we're making fun of you. And Gus was like, dude, not cool. He comes back over, you know, all mad. And he starts trying to argue with them about how, you know, like working out is the only way to be happy and blah, 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 blah. And finally, Gus's mom walks over and goes, will you shut up with all that? Like, nobody here cares. Just stop talking about it. Nobody wants to hear about this stuff anymore. Please, I hear about it enough at home. Just shut up. And what was insane is, like, that actually worked, dude. He's going off at everybody, but this guy's mom tells him to shut up, and he just goes instantly quiet. Just goes to show you how that relationship works, bro. Living in mom's basement, she tells you to shut up at the party, and you just do. But yeah, I don't know, man. Just interesting for you to be telling anybody that they're a Weenie Hut Jr. man when you're the one getting told to shut up by your mom, too. Anyways, guys, I think that's going to do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, please let me know in the comment section down below what you thought, and be sure to, you know, like the video. In fact, if you're an ugly gamer, like and comment. It just helps me get a number of how many of y'all are also gaming out there. Other than that, you can check out the intro song link down below, link to my podcast, the Scuffcast, down there too, or you could use code SCRUBBY at the G Fuel checkout to get a discount on the best energy drink for gamers. Other than that, October is coming to a close, but you can still get yourself the Halloween merch from the link in the top of the description. It's on screen now, and it's pretty cool if you ask me. And yeah, on that note, guys, that's gonna do it. Don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot, and hopefully I'll see you guys next time. I'm out. Peace. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am. And today, ladies and gentlemen, I've got a story time for you I think you're gonna enjoy. It's a story time with love, a story time with betrayal, and honestly, I'm lying, it doesn't really have either of those. It is about a kid that makes a crap ton of money off of a very lucky situation, though, and that's still a pretty fun story time. Regardless, though, I think it should be a fun one. And before we get into it, be sure to press the like button, or no joke, no scam, you'll never get this lucky, and let's go.
I'm getting quiet now. Lay low when you reach zone right now. Making out stack the
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, now the person who sent this in, I do gotta say, is honestly one of the luckiest people that I've ever met, because it's a kid that managed to make like $30,000 by just being in the right place at the right time. So I'm pretty partial to stories that take place in grocery stores because that was my first job, and I just think it's fun when stuff goes like that. I guess this kid lives in a small town in like Midwest America somewhere. He did tell me the state. I'm not going to expose him like that, but it's somewhere where there still is like, small family-owned grocery stores. I don't know if it's just because I live in a big city, but out here, the only grocery stores you get are ones with like 7,000 locations that have a corporate office that definitely talks a lot about synergy at their corporate retreats. But I guess this guy actually worked at a grocery store that was still owned by like a mom and a pop, and they stocked everything themselves. They made sure that they knew what people wanted. If someone like had a new product, they would check it out. And overall, it was a really good time working at this grocery store. And because it was a mom and pop shop, they were pretty accommodating to his schedule. And in return for them being accommodating to his schedule and just overall treating him well, this guy worked really, really hard. He felt like it was the least he could do since the family was so nice and helped him out so much with his schedule, is that like he would just be a really hard worker when he was there. And when he got there was a lot of clutter and whatnot. The owners weren't necessarily organized. And one day he took some initiative. He said, "Hey, I'm going to clear out those file cabinets in the back. Is that okay?" And the guy said, "Yeah, absolutely, sure." And so he starts clearing out these filing cabinets, and there was just crap shoved in there. It was like papers, there's some items, dude. There was cans from like the 80s. There had been stuff that is here from a long time. But in one of these drawers in this filing cabinet, he opens it up, and when he opens it, he looks in and he really can't believe his eyes. But it looks like there's like trading cards of some kind. It looks like trading card tins that are flipped upside down. And you can see that they're still sealed in plastic wrap, but because everything else in here is old and hasn't been touched in years, he kind of gets excited. So he picks up the tin and he flips it over, and sure enough, it's a Yu-Gi-Oh card tin from like the earliest they released. And there's a lot of them. It was literally a box of, okay, I'm going to say this. I don't know if you guys are going to know what this is. It's a 2003. It's the Blue Eyes White Dragon sealed tin. Okay, there was like a bunch of them. If you don't know what that is, just know it's like a Yu-Gi-Oh thing that's very rare to find sealed. They're about $600 a tin. And he had found like a box of them that had just been shoved in this filing cabinet and closed. And so he stays, he cleans up the filing cabinets. He's freaking out a bit. And so, he walks up to the owner and he says, "Hey, I found these really old sealed Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I think they might be worth something. I just wanted to let you know." And keep in mind, the owners of this mom and pop shop had been really impressed by this kid's hard work and initiative. And he says, "All right, well, I don't know anything about cards. I would never sell them. So because you took the initiative to clean out the office, I want you to have them." And when he says that, the kid literally has to be like, "Are you sure?" He lets him know that when he says they're worth money, he means serious money. And the guy's like, "Yeah, no, I get it. I'm just never going to sell them. So seriously, thanks for cleaning those out. You can keep it." So he has this box of tins, right? And there was nothing really else in there, but he has this box of old sealed Yu-Gi-Oh tins. And he goes home and he goes out and he lays them on his bed and he starts counting them out. And he has 47 of these things that he had found sealed in this one box. There had been some in other areas, but like it's all the same type of card tin. It was almost like they had got a box in to sell when they had come out and then just kind of forgotten about it. So he starts counting it out, and sure enough, he goes online looking up prices and whatnot, and all in all, it ends up coming to about $30,000 worth of Yu-Gi-Oh cards that he had just found in this dude's like cabinet that they had just stowed away. And so when he finds that out, he realizes that like he's got to let the owner know how much it's worth, because he would feel bad taking this and selling it and like, not giving the guy a chance to be like, "Whoa, I want some of that." So he goes and he tells his boss that, it's going to be tens of thousands of dollars. I just wanted to give you a chance to take it back. And he says, "Kid, I don't know how many times I got to tell you this. The cards are yours. I understand you got lucky. You know what they're worth. Congratulations. They're yours." And like the owners were so cool that even after they found out that they had given this kid like thousands and thousands of dollars in Yu-Gi-Oh cards, they were just still chill about it. I feel like at that point, most people would have like started being like, "No, I need those back. Actually, they're my son's." And maybe that's just because I've read so many horror stories about people who like win the lottery and then all of their cousins start suing them for crazy stuff. I just assume that's what people would do, but no, the owners were incredible. In fact, if anything, they were like proud of him for figuring out what they were worth. Because truthfully, their logic was they were literally just going to sit there forever. There was never going to be a chance they were going to get sold, and if they did get collected by them cleaning it out, they probably would have just gotten thrown away. So honestly, the fact that he got them, they thought was like a sign he was supposed to just have it. But yeah, he did end up selling them, obviously, because like, when you're working at a grocery store, $30,000 is a crap ton. It's a crap ton of money, period. But especially when you're working for like minimum wage at a grocery store and you're a teenager. Anyways, he ended up taking that money and buying himself a car. He ended up getting a bunch of cool stuff. Then he still saved a bunch of it for college. But to this day, he talks about the story like it's the greatest thing to happen to him, because it probably is. In terms of like how much work he did for how much money he got, Yeah, there might be a chance where he makes another, like, fat $30,000 check, but I guarantee you it's going to be a lot more work than clearing out a filing cabinet and finding some cards, dude, and selling them on eBay. I will say, though, a lot of that is just, like, knowing what you got. It's kind of similar to this. They probably would have just thrown it away. So, you know, if you weren't in the right place at the right time, it wouldn't have worked out. The universe works in wild ways. I will also say, though, if anything you can learn from this is just seize an opportunity, bro. You get a chance to clean an old filing cabinet. You don't know if there's old cards in there, but hey, you know what's the worst that could happen? You find some old Pokemon cards, make a couple $10,000, make college a hell of a lot cheaper. It's a W in my book. But anyways, guys, that's pretty much all there is to the story. I know this was another short one. I just thought it was really cool when I read it. What are the odds of stumbling a bunch of old trading cards and selling them for some cha-cha-cha-ching? So I figured y'all would enjoy. If you did, you can head on down there and press the like button. It would really help the video do better. You can also really help me out by taking a second to comment something down below. If you don't know what to comment, just go ahead and comment Yu-Gi-Oh! It helps the video do better. Along with that, if you really want to help me out, you can check out the intro song, which can be found in the description. I'd appreciate it. You can also check out my podcast, The Scuffed Cast, which can be found down there as well. And if you really want to help out, using code SCRUBBY at the G Fuel checkout gets you a discount on the best energy drink for gamers and helps me out. And last, but certainly not least, of course, if you want to get yourself the coolest merch to ever exist, then take a look at your screen and look at it, because there it is, the swaggiest merch of all time. And it can be yours by scrolling on down to the description, clicking the link, checking out the Teespring store, and buying it. But yeah, on that note, guys, that's really all I got for today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed. Always be on the lookout for really old stuff you can sell for a lot of the money is the moral of today's video, and I'll see you guys tomorrow with the next one. Don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot, and I'm out. Peace. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am. Happy September. Hope you guys are having a good month. Hee hee ha ha. Today I've got a subscriber story that was sent in to me about a unfortunate incident that went down at a car show, ending up with a supercar getting totaled. Honestly, you gotta love the fact that people take their supercars to the car show only to try to show off and end up without one. Regardless, I figured it would be a pretty entertaining story time, but before we get into it, be sure to press the like button, otherwise, no joke, no scam, someone will blow up your Minecraft house, and without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so as I said, this was a subscriber story that was sent in to me, and, you know, apparently this guy that we're gonna call Tony was a big fan of car shows. For those of you that don't know what that is, for some bizarre reason, it's basically like there'll be a parking lot on a Saturday morning. Everybody in town that's got a cool car will kind of go there, drink coffee, look at cars, take pictures of cars. It's basically what it sounds like. It's a car show. And, you know, I guess they're pretty fun to hang out at. I've been to a couple of them, but sometimes at car meets, the best thing isn't necessarily looking at cars, it's the people watching. Because some of the people that show up to car shows just tend to have this attitude that, like, you know, owning a car is their entire personality trait. And it was at one of these car shows that our subscriber ended up running into a guy that had brought a Lamborghini. And listen, I think we all know that Lamborghinis are a little bit up there in terms of cost on a car. Yeah, you can find a Lambo for cheap, but chances are you're sinking at least $250,000 into one. If you're gonna get something really flex-worthy, you know, absolutely nutty. So whenever you see someone pull up with the Lamborghini, it tends to turn some heads. And the town that this kid was from wasn't necessarily crazy large either, so it was even more bizarre to see like an exotic supercar there. You know, he was from an older town in the Midwest, so like most of the cars at this car show would be muscle cars, stuff made in America in like the 70s, and you know, it wasn't too common to see something as like flashy as a Lamborghini in the area. And obviously, when Lambo Dude pulled up and parked in the spot, a lot of people started giving him attention, but it wasn't like the owner was a nice dude. Instead, it was just a total douchebag moment. Instead of just being like a little bit humbled by the fact everybody wanted to come look at his car, you know, being nice about it, letting people take pictures of it and whatnot, the second people walked up to him and started asking him questions about it, he was like blowing them off, saying that if they hadn't done their research, he really had no reason to be talking to them, which like is ridiculous, bro. Everyone's here to be at the car show. They're not here to know everything about your car. And on top of that, somebody else like tried to take a picture of it, you know, and he got pissed off, jumped in front of him and started saying that the only way anyone was going to get a picture of his Lambo is if they paid him. and it was gonna be $8 a pop for a picture. Which, like, listen, dude, I understand whatever. You're kind of out and about. People are taking pictures of you and whatnot. That would be annoying. You might want to charge them. But, dude, first of all, a car's not a person. And second of all, it's a Lamborghini. People are going to take pictures of it. Like, I'm sorry. If you wanted to fly under the radar and not get a lot of attention, you picked the wrong car, dude. I'm sure it's annoying to have people taking pictures of your car and all that stuff, but you want to know the real key to having people not do that? Not driving a $250,000 car, especially to a car show where people are going to take pictures of it. Anyways, he started saying that he was going to charge people to take pictures with his car, and nobody was willing to pay for it. They were all just kind of like, oh, okay, if you're going to be like that, then I guess we're just not going to take a picture of it. I think this is also really stupid because I really just don't know what he expected. Like, I'm sure driving down the road on a Tuesday in a Lamborghini, some kid at a crosswalk is going to take a picture of your car. Let alone taking it to a car show and expecting nobody to take a picture of it might be the dumbest thing of all time. Maybe that's how he's like paying the bills on the Lamborghini. He really can't afford it. He just takes all the photo op money from all the car shows he goes to, and that's how he's paying for it. This is basically the equivalent of like taking a brand new super cute puppy to a crowded dog park, right? And then being really pissed off when someone's like, can I pet your dog? Yeah, you brought a cute puppy in public. Everyone's gonna want to pet it, dude. That seems like a pretty normal thing. Anyways, after he started trying to charge people and be condescending, what was once like kind of getting a lot of attention, a lot of people coming over there, ended up emptying out pretty quick. Like for the first 10 minutes, he had people coming over and asking to talk about the car and whatnot, and he was being a jerk. But once everybody at the show kind of realized that he was a jerk and not fun to talk to, they just stopped giving him attention. You know, nobody was looking at it, nobody was taking pictures of it, and it got so annoying to this guy, like his ego was so bruised by that he started reminding people like, hey guys, look at my Lamborghini here. Come on, I don't know why you guys care about all these other cars when my Lamborghini is right here. Like, he was so offended at the fact that nobody wanted to come talk to him about his car and take pictures of it that he started reminding people that it was there. And trust me, dude, everybody knew that it was there. They just didn't want to deal with you. You can look at a car from far away. You don't necessarily have to go up and talk to the owner. And so he kind of tries his best to remind people that it's there. He lowers the price from $8 a picture to $5 a picture. Surprisingly, wow, that doesn't get people lining up outside the door. Who would have thunk it? You would think with discounts like that, he would have had some Black Friday doorbusters waiting outside, camping outside to get a picture with his car, but that just didn't happen. So once he realizes he's just kind of SOL, no one's giving him any attention, he decides that he's going to dip out early, right? But he can't leave without trying to get the last word in. He's just that type of guy. So he just starts ranting about how he's never going to come to a car show in any hick town again, and crappy towns like this never appreciate actual automobiles. Everyone here's a moron. They're all stupid. Calling everybody rednecks, insulting them, and everyone's like, all right, bro, bye. Like, go ahead and leave. And anyways, he starts pulling out onto the main road from the parking lot they're in. And if you've ever been to a car show, then you know that, like, the road in front of a car show tends to be pretty loud. Because as people are leaving the car show, they'll show off, they'll do burnouts, they'll try to like do really cool stuff to, you know, show off in front of their friends. And I guess Lambo dude, as he's leaving the car show, decided that he was going to show everyone here what they were missing out on, let them know what the Lamborghini could do so they can regret not paying $8 for a photo. Because when he gets out on the main road, he starts trying to do a burnout. And you would think someone that owns a Lamborghini would be pretty good at driving a car. Like, I know doing a burnout in a Lambo is probably not great for it, considering, like, replacing anything on that car is an arm and a leg. But if you already own one, whatever, you're rich. You would think you'd at least know how to drive it. But as this guy goes to do the burnout, for whatever reason or somehow, he messes up and ends up kind of skidding way too early and goes sideways to the point where his wheels are still spinning, but his car is now in the road perpendicular. Like, he's gonna drive into the other lane of traffic sideways and get T-boned. And at that point, everyone is kind of looking at it like, oh my God, because it looks like this guy's about to crash his Lamborghini. And so he goes to straighten it back out, and he kind of gets there, but not before, like, you know, the curb's coming. And so his left wheel kind of hits the curb at probably like a 45-degree angle, just enough where you hear just a crunch and you see the wheel kind of go cambered in. Do you know what I mean? Like, the bottom of the wheel is now bending a way that it's not supposed to be bending. And obviously, everybody at the car show, you know, it doesn't take a mechanic to realize that that's really bad. But because it's a car show, everybody's like, oh, to the point where, you know, there's the sound of a car accident, but you can still audibly hear the oh of everybody at the car show when they realize that this dude probably just broke his axle on his Lamborghini. And for those of you that are like, whatever, it's expensive, but he owns a Lambo. Yeah, replacing an axle on a Lamborghini costs about, I would guess in the ballpark of, from what I just looked up, at least like 20 grand. I mean, there was some places I found where it's like, you can get it repaired at Walmart for 2 grand, but I don't know if I'm trusting Walmart to work on the Lambo. You know what I'm saying? Still, it's a pretty considerably expensive repair, not to mention, it's not moving. Like, you're not driving this car from where it is, so now you've got to call a tow truck, get it towed, in front of the car show where you just made fun of them, called them hicks and idiots, and then you totaled your $250,000 car in front of them. That's what I call hilarious irony. Like, if you were gonna crash it anywhere, dude, you just had to have not crashed it in front of everybody that you just called stupid idiots. That was like the one thing that he had to do, and he just couldn't keep it together. Obviously, he gets out of the car, hands on the head, just absolutely like, oh my god, can't believe what just happened, as you do when you realize you've made a mistake that's gonna cost quite a bit of money. And instead of, just sitting there and waiting, he just starts walking down the road. Because down the road was like this shopping center with stuff in it, like some stores. And they watch him kind of walk into this Starbucks, and he just sits there. I'm sure it was the embarrassment of crashing right in front of everybody he had just made fun of, bro. Like, I don't know if I could have sat there and waited for the tow truck if I had just called everybody inbred hicks and then crashed my car in front of them. That's hilarious. But whatever, after about 45 minutes, the tow truck ended up coming up. He came back out and they towed it. But in the meantime, in that 45 minutes they were waiting for the tow truck and he was in the Starbucks, everybody at the car show, as petty as this is, it's also hilarious, decided at that point that they better go get pictures with the car because he wasn't going to charge them then. And so basically everybody there ended up getting pictures of this crashed Lamborghini that was pretty broken. And he was not there to charge him for it. So it looks like he didn't make his profit at the end of the day. Probably could have made a little bit more money charging for the crashed Lamborghini pictures. Not a good entrepreneur. Regardless, moral of the story, be careful of showing off in front of a car show. It's probably not worth it to total your car. And also, be careful, because if you do make fun of a bunch of people for being hicks and then try to do a burnout, you will crash your car. That's just the way the universe works. Anyways, guys, I think that's going to do it for the video. I know this was a short one. Long ones are back tomorrow. I do promise you. I've been writing one down. I got you guys. It will be a good video. Regardless, if you enjoyed, I would really appreciate you taking a second to press the like button. Let me know in the comments section down below what you thought of the video. Turn on subscriptions, notifications, all that good stuff. If you really want to support me, you can use code SCRUBBY at the G Fuel checkout. That is a fantastic way to get a discount. Help me out. Check out the intro song down below. My Scuffed Cast podcast is down in the description too. And if you take a look at your screen, you'll see the coolest merch to ever exist in the history of the planet, which can also be yours with a trip down to the description. But yeah, on that note, guys, that'll do it. Don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot. And I'll see you guys next time. I'm out. Peace.